Okay, related to the internal factors and the external factors, I want to go over a hiring phenomenon that goes on. It goes on all the time in companies. We have the hiring, and the process of hiring people is to select the best employees that are available. I think everybody can agree to that. You put out a notice of a vacancy, and we get applicants that come in, certain qualifications, experience is needed, and all that stuff. And then we select the best people. So I want to go over this briefly, concept here. You put out the notice, the vacancy, and you select the best. You get the best employee. Remember that little light of mine, the internal factors that are going on. And then the person should move on to be on the job, and as we mentioned in the last video, some training is probably needed because every company has a different way of doing things. And they get the equipment and stuff like that, and they are exposed to the management style and possibly leadership, moving more to hopefully moving from management types of do it or else to leadership. I'll make you want to do something, and then at the end of say 6 months, we judge the people. We judge the employee, and it might be a success. We might have a success, smiley face, or we might have a failure. So here again, we are in HRM, Human Resource Management. Now the goal is for people to be successful on the job. We want success. Does anybody say that? I think they say you go sink or swim, not we need a system that creates winners. Successful people who satisfy the customer, be it an internal customer or an external customer. More internal, external. And then we do have the potential of a failure. Most managers, as we said with the 96-4, put the blame on the employee immediately. Now sometimes it is the employee's problem. Maybe, well, it's our problem because we hired them. Maybe we didn't hire the right person. So, but when people fail on the job, the understanding manager leader will look at the system and see what went wrong. But that doesn't happen so much as the employee is blamed. So when we have success, that's all good, we're all happy. But when we have failure at the end of 6 months, we're going to judge everybody. And when we have failure, now what is a manager to do with failure? Well, if the person is trying, they might need more training and things like that. But here again, a lot of times we have a system that focuses on threats, punishments, and maybe the employee gets a good scolding, rail up. And then the employee, if you go back to those external factors, now it's all negative. There's hatred. The person was great at first, but now they had a bad experience on the job. And now they're demotivated instead of motivated. The manager, leader, didn't catch them doing something right and try to build on that. We just automatically say, it's your fault, you failed, you sink. And then we get to start over because the person gets fired, and then we go back to the selection process and start over again. Now, if you can think about companies that have a lot of turnover, it's like the system is set up for the employee to fail. So then we repeat the cycle, hoping for things to be better the next time. Hoping for things to be better the next time. As an HR manager, you need to, and manager, this is HR. Doesn't matter if you have a department or it's just you, setting people up for success on the job. Because when we go into this negative territory, the mood, the spirit, the pride is all broken, and it's probably just going to get worse. They might even start sabotaging the place because there's hatred. We don't want that. We want success. We want a system that creates success. And think about that. Before you think about the 96-4, before you blame the employees, look at the system that they're in. What about the processes? Was the equipment faulty? Did we fail on training? Can you imagine how many employees are out there right now working, and they have no idea what they're doing? What fool would put their store or their factory in the hands of somebody who's not properly trained? Except we do it all the time. Sink or swim. You've had your training, now go swim if you sink. But, I mean, think about it. That's putting the business at jeopardy if people don't know what they're doing. So that's very important. Okay, so we have all these management tricks. We'll get back to management tricks probably later on. But these little tricks work against you, not for you, most of the time. Now, one of the crazy things, a lot of you guys have jobs, but when we go to hiring, one of the frustrating things for the young college graduate is to look at the vacancy in the paper, and the vacancy requires experience. How can I get experience if I can't get the job without experience, right? So I'm here to question for a second, does experience matter? Now let's think about this. If it was an employee, the question for me, well, could they do the job with the proper equipment and training and all that? Would they be capable? Would they enjoy it? Would they fit into the culture? But right here, I want to look at experience. Has their past been good, or has their past been bad? If their past has been good, they've had successes, they have self-esteem going on, and there's love, there's passion with that employee. But if they've had bad experiences, we got a problem because the employee is probably going to be jaded. And if you go back to that video about corporate image, if it's a jaded employee coming into a toxic, bad company, what do you expect to happen? If the company has a bad reputation and they've had bad experiences, what's going to happen? So I want to think about that. Would you rather have an employee, hopefully they've had a good past, but then why are they looking for a job, that's a rookie, or would you rather have one that's been kicked around so much that they're already cocked and loaded? That's just one question. It can be fixed. Healing is possible if you look at servant leadership. But, okay, so a lot of these vacancies, they put the big vacancies for the big jobs, right? So, as an HR manager, you need to hire a manager. We're over here, manager. And the vacancy often asks for 5 years experience. Now, experience is, counts when it's IT, something technical, things like that. But does experience correlate to success? Does experience really matter? What about the manager who has been failing for 5 years? They practice all of the negativity. I get things done. Light a fire under them. That's what you do. Fire somebody today. Get their attention. Yell at them. Alienate them. Make them feel bad. I get things done. I've got 5 years of experience getting things done. That can be trouble. We want managers, leaders, if they're looking for a job, to prove that they've got experience being successful, not being a failure. So when you think about those vacancies and that experience thing, put a big question mark over your head when you're reading that. Experience doing what? Ruining people? just getting by or being a success. Now, I've put the term right here, escalation of commitment. This is a little version of escalation of commitment. But we get locked in our ways. Managers get locked in their ways. We're talking about managers with experience. And the managers who practice dirty management tricks to get things done coercively, quite possibly are locked into a situation of escalation of commitment. They make people feel bad, and then they think that they're successful because the person temporarily does something, they comply. And then the manager does it again, and then the manager does it again. And the manager becomes known for being that bully in the workplace. And that's their personal identity, and they are more stuck with it than ever because that's their personal identity, and that's what they believe in. And I would like to put right here, we're hopefully going to have time for some Maxwell quotes. He's really good, John Maxwell. A quote here, a person who thinks they are a leader and has no followers is just out taking a walk. A lot of leaders, are out there in the workplace going, yes, I have troops behind me. There's nobody behind you. They're not committed. They're just complying. So, as an HR person, whether it's your own business, major corporation, you be careful of this experience, because experience doesn't always mean good things. Experience can cause pain, skittishness, I guess, kind of like that stray dog, and especially with management. They might have been practicing the wrong thing for 5 years. They might have been crushing the spirits and ruining the pride of employees for 5 years and calling it a success when it is a failure. So be careful with your hiring. Be careful with your hiring, and be careful with your system. Because even if you hire and select the best and ruin them, then you have to start over. You have to look at the system, not just the employees. And when you have one of these people in charge of your system, your turnover is going to be enormous. Why do they quit? They can't handle it. Why don't they come to work? Probably one of those.